Hello po. Ako po si Gab and I'm representing Second Serving. So, I'm one of the founders of Second Serving and yeah, we started just this year in May 1. So, ang siniserve po namin is taho, palabok, lasagna, pork belly sisig, and chicken adobo, and beef stew. Yun po yung mga siniserve namin dito sa second serving. Me, I basically grew up here in Singapore. So pinalaki ako dito, nag-migrate yung tatay ko, and dinala niya kami shortly after. Kami ng kapatid ko at yung nanay ko. So that's when we started here in Singapore in the 90s. So pinag-aral ako dito, at saka dito na rin ako, nag-military din ako dito. So that's how I found myself here in Singapore. Not by choice, but by family ties.
Buti po na preserve nyo po yung pagtatagalog nyo.
Apo, so dati, nung hindi pa tayo masyadong techie, di ba? Wala pang mga Zoom, wala pang mga video call. Lagi naman kaming pinapatawag sa mga lola dahil nga sila yung nagpalaki sa amin. Mula nung sinilang kami ng kapatid ko, yung parents namin kasi lumuluwas sa Manila pa sila nagtatrabaho. So yung parents ko, we originated sa Subic, Olongapo City, in fact. My dad is from Olongapo City. My mom is from Zambales. So basically, lumuluwas sila sa Manila, nagtatrabaho sila. We get to see them maybe Friday nights or Saturday morning na just over the weekend. And they go back to work again Sundays in Manila. So, kaya close kami ng mga lola at lolo. So, lagi kaming pinapatawag pa rin. Kasi syempre, we had a connection and that's how I preserve Tagalog. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So basically, I met my wife during my vacation in the Philippines, actually. So actually, dala ko yung tropa ko galing dito sa Singapore, yung mga friends ko dito na Singaporean, mga dito. So they were asking, "Oy, bakit hindi mo pa kami tinitour sa Pilipinas?" So I think that was in 2010. So we went. And then that's how I met her actually during the vacation. So, bali, I have other trading business that I do as of the moment. And actually, Second Serving was founded more for my wife, for her to do something, you know. And this is what she found that she loved to do. We said, why not give it a shot and we'll see where it will take us. So yun po yung actually founding stone ng Second Serving. So it was just a shot to the moon, you know. So we just tried and we found our way with the help of different people then along the way. Yeah.
Gano'n na po katagal yung second serving po? 1 year na po? Or within this
7 months pa lang po.
7 months?
7 months pa lang. Opo. Bale, nung May 1st lang po kami nag-start.
Through sa misis nyo, idea niya po ba yung second serving?
Bale, we were debating because we know the challenges of F&B business. Time consuming, physically demanding, and yung time talaga was a major factor. So, she never considered actually putting up a shop or a retail business, to be honest. Pero sabi ko sa kanya, yung total, meron kaming mga pagkain na gusto at minsan, hindi namin alam kung saan namin pupuntahan dito sa Singapore. So, that is how we formed the menu. Kung titignan nyo yung menu namin, parang it's everywhere, di ba? Konting dito, palabok, tapos mayroong lasagna, tapos taho. It's basically how we formed the menu was things or food that we love. Yun po yung pagka-form ng menu namin. So, hindi siya professional menu na nakikita natin, may starters, appetizers, kompleto talaga. Yung sa amin, whatever we know, we offer. So, yun po yung sa amin. So, yung pagka-idea ng pagka-set up ng second serving, I pushed her to actually start it up because we were talking about it even pre-pandemic actually, 2019, to do it. Pero like I said, the challenges, lalo na dito sa Singapore, the cost is high. So we really deliberated for a very long time. And for me, why wait? Yun lagi ang sinasabi ko. I don't think there's a perfect time or there's a bad time for anything. As long as you put your heart and effort into it, I think, you can make it work out. So,
May kwento po ba yung pangalan na second serving? Ano po yung kwento behind that name?
so ito po yan. Yung tungkol sa pangalan, I mean, this is a big question. How do you even come up with a name? We serve palabok, beef lasagna, rice toppings. Ano kayang pwedeng pangalan? Usually, sa atin, di ba, karinderya yan. So, aling kaninong kitchen, yung mga ganyan yung mga typical names, di ba? So, sabi ko, since, what we wanted to get out of it was to make sure that people comes back again. So why not, think along that line? So, sabi namin, we started with 2 serves, yung mga ganon. So, until we finally formulated a proper word for it, second serving. So, ang tagline namin is, one is not enough. So, what we want you to do is, to come back beyond the first serving or the first try that you have taken from us. Yeah. Having grown up here, I think there was a little bit of an advantage dahil I was exposed to the culture here earlier, and of course the group of friends or the people that I know, I could easily turn to somebody and ask, oh, how do you do this? Kasi may mga katropa din or friends din ako along the way na they've started such business. So I would have said, I think it helped a lot with that circle. They made the whole process a little bit more seamless. Kasi ang dami talaga ang dami requisitions and requirements na hinahanap dito and ang daming proseso. But the advantage is that here, I feel na as long as you go through it, at least assured ka na meron ka. Meron kang negosyo na kumbaga you don't have to worry about anything after, di ba?
Okay.
Kasi you follow the rules. Yeah.
So yung sa pwesto naman, bakit hindi naisip niyo ba na mag-put up sa Lucky Plaza or may story kung bakit kayo nasa Taiseng?
Taiseng po.
Oh.
Yes po. So bakit sa Taiseng? Because when we were looking for an area, during the time when we started the business or just before we opened the doors for business, the prior consideration was the current environment. So at that point of time po, di ba, second lockdown tayo this year, somewhere in May, na no dine-ins allowed, yung mga ganon. So we were already anticipating na kumbaga roller coaster ride to with the opening of easing of measures and closing of measures, again, tightening of measures. So we thought that, we didn't want a very big overhead. So we had to look outskirts. So that's where we started looking. So if you ask me, did we consider like our main Filipino hub sa Lucky Plaza? Yes, we did. But with this news, I also learned na being in Lucky Plaza has also its limitations. Dahil they had crowd control, yung mga yun. But the rental are still more premium compared to the outskirt areas of Singapore. Yeah. So at that point of time, we started looking. I looked at the Singapore map and I said, okay, why not we go somewhere here? Medyo Taiseng area. I was quite familiar with Taiseng kasi we frequent this area. We go to a church nearby here. So we started looking around this area, and that's how we found the current store that we have, which is walking distance with the MRT.
Mukhang magkikita-kita tayo sa Taiseng, ah.
Oo nga. Sa
Welcome
baba,
po.
sa
Welcome
baba
po.
lang yata ng office natin yung yung store.
Taiseng Center tayo, di ba?
Taiseng Point
Yung
po.
office natin.
Kumbaga, katawid lang ng Taiseng Center ang Taiseng Point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Soon. Mukhang makakatikim tayo ng third serving.
For sure.
Oo nga.
Ah,
Kuya, nabanggit nyo na may palabok kayo, taho. Ano pa po yung mga nasa menu nyo? And
So,
meron po bang kwentos?
Ang initial menu po was palabok, lasagna, and rice toppings. Bakit rice toppings? Ang initial rice toppings namin po is chicken adobo at saka caldereta. Pero we named it beef stew dahil nga dapat neutral para sa local din. Dahil hindi namin alam anong demographics dito sa Taiseng area, kung may marami bang Pilipino or kung mas madaming locals na naandito lang sa mga opisina dito. So we wanted something that could cater for both ways as we are trying to figure out the Filipino community around this area. So we started with fail-safe. Why chicken adobo is, I think it's easy for the locals. Sasabihin lang natin braised chicken. Alam na nila yun. So yung beef caldereta naman po, dahil beef stew siya. We can name it beef stew. That's how we formed it in the menu. Pero ang stars ng menu namin, why we really started second serving is the palabok and the lasagna po. Dahil ang palabok is my personal favorite. So growing up here in Singapore, it wasn't easy to find, even before Jollibee time. So, meron naman nagbebenta sa Lucky Plaza and all, but I don't stay very close to Lucky Plaza then. So, and I wanted an easier method to get that dish. So, sabi ko kay Mrs. dati, whenever there's a party, palabok usually ang request ko pag may handa. So, every time she asks, saan tayo bibili? Parang gano'n. So, that's how palabok started. So, I told them, why not we do this with the advancement of the internet and all? We try, Let's do some search, and do it to the best of our knowledge. Wala kaming formal cooking lessons or whatever. So, it was like scratch that we tried, and to what we know best or how we like it to taste like. That's how it's done. So, ang lasagna naman po is actually a family recipe from my wife's family. So, from her cousin's family actually has this lasagna recipe as she was growing up, and she was telling me all about it, when we first met and until we got together. And when I tasted it, sabi ko, kakaiba nga yung lasagna. Sabi ko, parang pasok sa panlasa ng mga Pilipino. Dahil may sweet side siya eh. Hindi siya yung Italian na lasagna na alam natin na it's more on the tomato, soury kind of taste. So, sabi ko, let's put it together. Because, hindi naman lahat ng tao magkakagusto ng palabok. Or vice versa. Hindi naman lahat may gusto ng lasagna. So, to form a business, sabi ko, we need to have a little bit of variety then. So, that's how we form the core products. So, ang kwento naman tungkol sa taho, where I think, for me, is my pride and joy yung taho dahil I grew up here in Singapore, but I still have vacations last time in Philippines, even when I was still very young. And those were the things that I looked out for. Yung si Manong Taho na dadaan sa kalye. So, I've tried. I think there's a lot of bean curd shops naman dito sa Singapore. Kahit Sana sulok meron. Pero kakaiba talaga yung sa atin dahil yung pagka-sweetness at saka pagka-flavor ng Arnibal. Yun yung pagkakaiba that I feel. So, at that point of time, I said, since we are opening up a shop, I want to have taho in it as well. Because I think this is one thing that is different here. Wala eh. Wala pa akong alam at that point of time who is using Arnibal. So, that's when we started. And like I was looking back with my wife some time ago, sabi ko, you know, there was a point of time na we were having taho almost every after meal, you know, to try out the recipe, how it would pair, you know, with the curd itself, how would it taste. So, and then here we are with second serving, and we are serving taho right now. At this current day and age po, I think we have to make full use of the digital marketing. I would say. Gone are the days where your conventional marketing style like advertisements, yung mga ganun, flyers, it doesn't work anymore. So, for us, when we formed Second Serving, I had it in mind na I had to have digital marketing in my team, you know, to support the business. Dahil you can have fantastic dishes or products to sell, pero when it doesn't reach out, then it can't. So the other thing that I saw was how to automate certain processes. Like nung una-una po, Facebook marketing, so pati po order taking via messenger, yung mga gano'n. So until we found na hindi siya sustainable in the long run for a pleasant experience for everybody. It takes too much time. Paano kung hindi siya nabalikan ng admin namin sa digital marketing, di ba? So hindi siya nakita yung message, na overlook yung message. So we invested heavily on systems to further enhance the customer experience. So I would say, kung tatanungin niyo po ako, like, have we seen like the peak and the drop? I would say na it's more like a wave. Ang negosyo po is pag plateau siya, I think that's where we have to get worried. Pero pag nagwe-wave siya, it just means that there are times na mas kumbaga mas appealable siya, and there are times na medyo okay lang, parang gano'n. Dahil we also understand maybe our location is one of the factors. You know, in the beginning, everybody will come because they're curious, but that's why we also did beef up heavily on delivery. So before, we relied po on external parties for delivery. Pero ang problema nga sa external party na kumbaga sa amin, napansin namin is that you don't have control, and at the end of the day, parang basta mag-deliver lang nila. They don't care. You know, that's their liability. Parang ganun. Hanggang doon lang sila. Wala nang, kumbaga, added service. Like, you know, call the customer before you reach, yung mga ganun. Or special instructions. Wala na. So, that's where we try to maintain and sustain the business with this model.
Bukod pa po dyan, ano pa po yung mga challenges na naranasan nyo?
I would say po, generally sa Singapore, I think space is one of the biggest challenge. Next is manpower. So that's why medyo sometimes, you know, although there's a greater demand on certain times, pero dahil po sa manpower, ito lang ang capacity. I mean, ayaw naman namin na ma-overstretch at the end of the day na kami lang din yung masisiraan when we don't fulfill. So, yun po yung mga, I think, the greatest challenge of especially F&B business dito sa Singapore is the manpower. Hirap mag-hire. Yung mga locals, ayaw naman nila. Pero for me to hire kapwa natin na OFW dito, I mean, I have to have so much under payroll. So, yun po yung, I think, the greatest challenge right now. Yes. Tuwing umaga, pag binubuksan namin yung system at nakikita namin yung kailangan na i-prepare na order, you know, there are days na, yeah, you get tired dahil back-to-back siya eh, you know. Even my one day coming close, actually that day that you're close, you're regrouping, kailangan mong mag-resupply, kailangan mong mag-arrange ng pang next day. So, technically, there's no rest in actual fact. It's just that on that certain day, wala kang hinaharap na direct customer. So for me, I think the biggest satisfaction is that although ganun ka-hectic yung day in and day out ng F&B business, when you see familiar customers coming back, I think that's the greatest satisfaction, which means that you're doing something right, di ba? So that for me.
Ano naman po yung magandang feedback na hindi nyo malilimutan sa mga customers nyo?
Tungkol sa palabok, may nagsasabi naman niya po na the best ever. I mean, it's a very generic description, I would say. Because I feel na with food naman po, especially sa atin sa Pilipinas, kung saan ka na parte sa Pilipinas, may version din eh. Di ba? Katulad ng dito, they have Hainanese chicken rice or they have Cantonese cuisine, which is also part of a Chinese cuisine dito. So, it's how it tastes and how it is to you as a person. It's very subjective. So, I would always say na whenever there's a feedback, you know, I try to get my feet grounded and try to, you know, take constructive feedback also from certain clients if they have suggestions, yung mga ganun. And we'll try. But sometimes, I mean, limitations kasi is, this is how we know it best. So, this is who we will appeal to. Yung mga taong siguro, parehas kami ng panlasa, and then definitely, they will appreciate what we have, you know.
Ano naman po yung kung meron man, natanggap na di magandang feedback na hindi nyo malilimutan?
Ito po, nung kaka-start lang namin, dahil nangangapa din kami sa F&B business. So, there was once na parang nag-reserve na yung customer ng taho at nagkulang siya. So, and I know we disappointed the customer. You know, even myself, I felt na I think, you know, hindi dapat siya mangyari. But it happened. And I think it's part and parcel of business as well. We learn through mistakes, and as long as we rectify the mistakes. And we try to also, you know, do recovery, customer service recovery. So at that point of time, yung customer, they were quite upset, yeah, that nag-reserve na sila, bakit hindi sila nabigyan ng dapat para sa kanila. Parang ganun. So, those were the things that further enabled my decision to really invest in certain automation to prevent these lapses from happening.
Ano pong future plans nyo sa second serving? Meron na po bang second store in the future?
Actually, we've been toying with the idea that, you know, marami na rin po nagsasabi na medyo malayo kayo sa amin. Parang gano'n. So, I do wish and I do hope na we can be at least close by to everybody, you know, within Singapore. Pero, yun nga po, as I mentioned earlier, the main challenges of this business, F&B business, is the manpower. So, at this current moment, we are exploring how to do it, But definitely, if we were to operate it ourselves, it's gonna be a big challenge. Yeah.
Meron, pumasok na rin ba sa isipan nyo na yung idea ng pagka-franchise?
Well, to be honest po, there were a few inquiries regarding this. And for me, if you ask me personally, I'm open to it. But at the same time, I was very open with these parties din po na hindi pa kami ready for that scale. Yeah, because I think at this stage, we are still preparing the way we're doing our processes. Pagka-prepare po namin and all. This is all we can do right now to support this shop, this one store that we have in Taiseng. So, I think marami pong considerations bago tayo dumating doon, but we're working on it and we're definitely open for it.
Okay. So, aside po dito sa pag-feature namin, meron pa po bang mga blogger or articles na na-feature na second serving?
Opo. So, we had a few Filipino bloggers who featured us in their Instagram, TikTok, yung mga ganun po. Tapos, for interviews, I did one with FIS, Filipinos in Singapore. Yeah, so that's so far what we've done for interviews and marketing so far.
Balita ko, sold out na raw kayo sa 24th. Ay,
Ako, dahil nga po dito sa Christmas, alam naman natin na maraming hindi pa rin makauwi. So, ilinilimit din po namin dahil sa logistics issues and also the space that we have to prepare. Strict po kasi dito yung mga food hygiene and also mahirap na po. I mean, we really control at this stage, lalo na bago pa lang kami. Kaya we don't want to overstretch. That's the reason why we have to.
Pero magandang pakinggan yun, di ba? Sold out.
Maganda pa.
Congratulations and more power.
Thank you,
power.
Negosyo.
Sana po more
Na nakatulong din
Kami.
laro ng negosyo po.
For sure po. I think with what you're doing po, maraming makaka-appreciate kasi like me, like when I shared my story earlier, hindi namin alam kung saan namin hahanapin eh. Meron pala eh. Diba? May mga nagbubukasan na po, especially now. Marami na rin so-called migrate na rin dito sa Singapore as resident na rin. So, I think more and more of this business will emerge. Yeah. For me, I think I want to encourage yung mga kapwa natin, mga Pilipino na regardless of what is the circumstances that you're facing right now, if you have an idea behind it, back it up with action. Do it, just do it, and you never know where you end up. Yun po yung I hope to reach out aside from running the business. I hope na yung story namin dito can help inspire people or entrepreneurs in the making out there, to make their lives also better for their families.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Are you craving or looking for Filipino cuisines? Find out here in Hungry Pinoy's mobile app. Get it on Google Play Store.
Or simply go to portal hungrypinoysg.cc.